Hello students. Now we are discussing about the syllabus of analog communication. So I have explained you what is the teaching scheme for this subject. So teaching scheme is 3 hours per week. Lectures are 3 lectures per week and practicals are 2 hours per week. That is called as the teaching scheme. And next it is the exam scheme. So exam scheme already I have explained. It is having end semester exam of 70 marks, in semester exam of 30 marks, term work it is of 25 marks and POE of 25 marks. So already these points I have explained. So now we will see about the syllabus. So if you see the syllabus of analog communication, here if you see that there are total 2 sections and total 6 chapters are there in the analog communication. So one by one we will see. We are having total 6 chapters. In section 1 there are 3 chapters and in section 2 there are 3 chapters. So first chapter it is introduction. So as we know that in all the subjects almost the first chapter is going to be introductory one, which will cover the basic introductory things related to that subject. Similarly in analog communication first chapter introduction, we are going to see the points: introduction of communication, what is the meaning of communication, what are the elements of communication system, so what is the concept of baseband and carrier communication, modulation and demodulation, what is need of modulation, types of modulation. Also we have to see the types of communication channels. So basic points we are going to see in this particular chapter. Okay, also we have to see the concept of bandwidth, concept of multiplexing. So overall introductory points we are going to see in the chapter number 1. So I will not explain all the points because still you are not familiar with the basic terms. So we will see it just what can be understood by you at the current time. So first chapter is based on introduction. Then second chapter it is based on the noise. So noise means it is nothing but unwanted signal which is produced during the transmission process. एखादा सिग्नल आपण ट्रान्समिट करत असताना whatever unwanted signal is added in that is called as the noise. So second chapter it is noise, and the points in the noise are sources of noise. So we have to see noise means what are the different types of noise. So there are 2 types of noise basically, internal noise and external noise. So in this chapter we have to see what are the sources of noise because of which the noise is produced. Then we have to see what are the types of noise, then internal noise and external noise. As I told, these are the 2 basic types. Then how we can minimize the noise, that is the next point. How the noise can be minimized which is produced in the system. Then related to this chapter some statistical part also we have to see. So we have to generate the derivation for noise figure. In noise chapter there is one important term, noise figure. So we have to generate the derivation for noise figure and we have to solve the numericals based on the noise figure point. Okay, so these are the points in chapter number 2. Then also in chapter number 2 we have to see what are the different types of noise produced in the baseband system, amplitude modulated system. These points are also there in the chapter number 2. Then third chapter is AM transmission. Now chapter number 3, 4 and 5 are related to each other. The third chapter it is AM transmission. Here the AM stands for amplitude modulation. So basically 3 types of modulations are there: amplitude modulation, frequency modulation and phase modulation. But out of that 3 types of modulations we have to see in detail in our syllabus amplitude modulation and frequency modulation. So we will see as time will come. Right now you will not understand modulation means what, demodulation means what. So as we will see that basic terms you will understand, but for time being just understand that modulation is nothing but it is a process used to increase the strength of the signal. That is the concept of modulation. So in third chapter we are going to see how to transmit the amplitude modulated signal. Then in fourth chapter we are going to see how to receive the AM signal. म्हणजे AM ट्रान्समीटरचे सगळे डिटेल्स आपल्याला थर्ड चॅप्टरमध्ये स्टडी करायचे आहेत आणि AM रिसिव्हरचे सगळे डिटेल्स वी हॅव टू स्टडी इन चॅप्टर नंबर 4. देन दिस इज अबाउट AM. So in detail 2 chapters are there based on AM transmitter and AM reception. So how the amplitude signal is generated, how the AM signal is generated, what are the spectrums of AM signal, how to derive the power relations between the different bands in the amplitude modulated signal. All that points we are going to see. And receiver, AM receiver मध्ये कुठले कुठले पॅरामीटर्स आहेत. What are the parameters? Those are deciding performance parameters of AM receiver. Then how to select the proper type of AM receiver. All these points we are going to cover in the chapter number 4. After that, in 5th chapter, we have to study FM transmission and reception in detail. जसं AM मध्ये ट्रान्समिशनचा वेगळा चॅप्टर आहे आणि रिसिव्हरचा वेगळा चॅप्टर आहे. दॅट इज नॉट द केस फॉर FM ट्रान्समिशन अँड रिसेप्शन. इथं FMमध्ये ट्रान्समिशन आणि रिसेप्शन हे एकाच चॅप्टरमध्ये आपलं कवर होतं आहे. सो आय टेल्ड जे 3 बेसिक आहेत मॉड्युलेशनचे टाईप, ॲम्प्लिट्यूड मॉड्युलेशन, फ्रिक्वेन्सी मॉड्युलेशन आणि फेज मॉड्युलेशन, त्याच्यापैकी आपल्याला हे 2 टाईप प्रॉपरली स्टडी करायचे आहेत, ॲम्प्लिट्यूड मॉड्युलेशन आणि फ्रिक्वेन्सी मॉड्युलेशन. सो this is up to chapter number 5. So if you see the syllabus, chapter number 3, 4 and 5 म्हणजे तुमचा जवळजवळ 50% syllabus that is based on the modulation. That's why I am telling frequently that the concept of modulation should be very clear. Why we are going to use the modulation method, what are the different types of modulation, all these points should be properly understood. That is up to chapter number 5. Then chapter number 6, it is pulse analog modulation. So pulse analog modulation means what? So when we use the modulation method based on which signals are used for modulation, there are 2 types of the modulation techniques, analog modulation and digital modulation. So if we are using the analog signal as a modulating signal and carrier signal, that is called as analog modulation. But any one signal from that, if it is pulse signal, so pulse is nothing but it is in the form of 0 and 1. So that is called as the pulse analog modulation. मग pulse analog modulation हे जे आहे method, that is the different as compared with our analog modulation method. So we have to study some methods for pulse analog मॉड्युलेशन. मग त्याच्यामध्ये डिफरंट मेथड्स आहेत, पल्स ॲम्प्लिट्यूड मॉड्युलेशन, पल्स टाईम मॉड्युलेशन, देन पल्स पोझिशन मॉड्युलेशन. सो ऑल these points we have to see in the chapter number 6. So again this chapter is also related to modulation, but that is not exactly analog modulation, that is some different type of the modulation. So these chapters are there in our syllabus. So textbooks, if you see, there is not a single textbook where you will get maximum contents from your syllabus, but still in George Kennedy Electronic Communication System by George Kennedy, that is of MC Graw-Hill publication, that book you can refer for your syllabus. Also Electronic Communication System by Dennis Roddy and Cullen, 4th edition, that book also you can refer for your syllabus. So these are the reference textbooks. Along with that, reference books you can refer as given by BP Lathi, Modern Digital and Analog Communication System, Modern Digital and Analog Communication System by BP Lathi, that is first reference book. Then Communication System by Simon Hackin, that is second reference book. Along with that you can use the book number 3 and 4. But whatever are the points, some points directly on Google also, if we search for understanding, that is better to search the points on the Google. but for writing the technical answers or for writing the technical information, you have to use the book language. So notes also I will provide for these chapters, but you also try to read these books, or if the some soft copy of that books I am getting, I will send to you, and you can read it and understand the concepts. So apart from that, there are 8 practicals. So right now I will not discuss about the list of practicals, but just have idea that also we are having the external practical oral exam for this particular subject for 25 marks. So this is about the syllabus of the subject. So total scheme also I have discussed, that 70 plus 30 plus 25 plus 25. So total weightage for this subject, it is of 150 marks. So if you see total weightage of the subject, it is of 150 marks in your syllabus. So if you study proper and pay attention properly from the start, it is easy for you to get the maximum marks in the subject. So though it is said that in theoretical subject you are unable to score more, but still if all points you have written properly, it is easy to score for the particular subject. Okay, thank you.